The Trump-Russiagate collusion conspiracy.
And you are never going to believe what they found.
Let's talk about it, y'all.
Middle America.
Let's do it. All right, dear listener, welcome to Middle America, where we are not left wing, we're not right wing, we're just
right.
Yes, dear listener, yes, dear listener, yes, dear listener. We are Middle America. If you want to be part of the conversation, facebook.com/America Middle.
Keep in mind, it is a free speech environment.
It is a free speech environment.
And Vinny is not one of the mods over there, so, you know, if you get yourself booted out.
Yeah, if you get yourself booted out, you get yourself in trouble, I really can't help you, to be honest with you, because it's true. Like, I have no control whatsoever as to what happens in that forum.
But it's definitely free speech.
I'm just another member of that forum over there. But yeah, it is a free speech environment. You can check it out. There are some things that I will, like, for example, there was a specific issue with a specific individual and I addressed them directly. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to go on a YouTube unless it's another YouTuber with equal or greater, reach. I'm not going to go on YouTube and make a video out about a specific person. But yeah. I will do it on the Middle America community because it's a lot smaller and there's a lot more opportunity for back and forth.
Sure.
Okay. But here we are. Shout out to Night Owl. Shout out to Delaney. Shout out to Pirate Alex.
What's up?
So, look, dear listener, if you've been part of the Middle America community for any period of time, and you were part of the community during the entire RUSSIAGATE scandal, you will remember that your boy Vincent was faithfully asking the question, where is the evidence? We did about a 3-hour special on the Mueller report, in which the very famous phrase
"out of my purview,"
outside of my purview, was used ad nauseum ad infinitum. And now we've got the definitive report called the Durham Report relative to the Trump Russiagate collusion, whatever you want to call it. And dear listener, this should be the definitive endgame on this particular topic. Here we go. Our good friends over at Rising covered this. And I do not have the actual video. I have the wrong video. Okay, according to Tasco's saying, let's go!
It'll be here momentarily. You just wait. Okay, so we're going to watch this video.
Yes, we're going to watch a video. It's going to be Rising, and Rising is going to cover, and they're going to comment, and we're going to comment on their comments. You guys know how this stuff gets down. I just came in unprepared. Well, I didn't come in unprepared. I just don't know where downloads go on
this
freaking device, I'll tell you.
When this video is over, are people going to think you're a Trump supporter or not?
I really don't know.
Or will they be just confused?
I really don't know what they're going to think, to be honest with you. Trump, as I've said, has summarily destroyed everybody's brains in America. When it comes to him, people just can't, on either side, people just cannot think rationally or consistently. People violate their own standards of knowledge and things of that nature whenever it comes to this dude. So yeah. I really can't call it. And to me, it's not necessarily about Trump for or against. It's about, the truth.
Yeah, and I think one important thing to do as we're going through this is pull out the principles of it and try to separate it from who the people are that are involved so we can actually kind of have a more balanced view on what we think should or shouldn't be happening. A lot of times personalities end up, leaning us one way or another, whether or not something is right or not. Let's try to keep the personalities to the side and just take the information in and see what we think about it.
Yeah, and that's, quite frankly, always been the problem with Trump.
Yeah.
On both sides. You have some people who are completely turned off by his personality, and so because of that, they're prone to hyperbole. Like Bernie Sanders saying that this guy's the most dangerous politician we've had in his lifetime, all types of craziness. Bernie went along with the Russiagate nonsense, which is, in my view, has been underreported as being devastating to his chances of re-election, because he also see, the funny thing is they also accuse Bernie of being a tool of Russia. People don't remember that. They released that. I'm pretty sure that was before the Las Vegas primary. CNN released a story about Bernie Sanders supposedly being a Russian shill as well,
Really?
like the day before the election. So, but anyway,
Okay.
here we go. Here is the Hill.
Who released that?
Here's
same,
the Hill.
Same people?
Huh?
Who released that about Bernie? Same people?
Same. Yeah, same media apparatus. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. Yeah. Like. Maida is going to say, have fun with this, glad to be at work. Unfortunately, I love Maida, but he was one of the main RUSSIAGATEs. So I don't think he's going to be very participatory on this one. But, hey. It's funny because what brought this about, and I love Matt, but what brought this about was, I think the lady's name is Laura Ingraham.
Yeah, okay.
She had posted something on Fox News, and then she had to go and make a retraction because it turned out to be wrong.
Yeah, okay.
And somebody posted it on Middle America, and I said, there is no shame in retracting something
Yeah.
when you're wrong.
No, it's honorable.
That's actually called integrity.
Yeah.
When is Rachel Maddow now going to get in front of the camera and say she was full of shit? And of course, all the Dems and the libs and the whatabouters were, well, no, it's different, nah. And so this is what instigated this video.
I see.
I'm not gonna say who, but somebody said, well, the way Trump was acting sure looks suspicious. And as a black person, I'm sorry, that kind of argument does not resonate very well with me. You look suspicious. You look the part. All right. Here we go. Here is Rising reacting to the results of the shout out to Applejack. That's right. Bernard Sanders is sexist, and we know this is true because the big homie Elizabeth Warren told us this. Remember that in the debate? They're like, "Did you say that Elizabeth Warren could never win because she's a woman?" And then
Bernie
goes,
I remember that.
I never said that. Never said that. And then literally the next question, Shorty was like, "So how did it feel to be told that you couldn't win the presidency because you were a woman?"
Questions needed to be answered.
Holy smokes! All right, here we go. Here we go. Here's the Hill covering it. Let's do it. Let's go.
Okay, John Durham, a Trump-era special counsel assigned to infamously investigate the investigation into former President Donald Trump's alleged ties to Russia, released a bombshell 305-page report. And after roughly 4 years, it found that, in fact, there was no collusion between the Trump campaign and Russia. And the FBI should never have launched a probe into the matter to begin with.
We got muted. What about now?
Maybe
They can hear us
maybe
now.
it's on.
No, we were muted, but
Yeah,
they can hear us now.
I'm saying maybe it was a gift from Allah.
Ian said, "No, it's not." What?
Well, do you know what I'm saying?
Oh, no, it's not a gift. Russia did not help Trump win. No.
Nope.
No, according to CNN, the Russians had absolutely nothing to do with Donald J. Trump winning the presidency of the United States. It turns out that Miss Hillary Rodham Clinton was just simply the worst candidate in the world at the time. And she's also the worst candidate in the world now, and she will be the worst candidate in 2024. She was unlikable, and more than that, she was untrustable.
That's the big thing, yeah.
She was untrustable, and the gamble that the Democratic Party took, which was, look, she's a woman, and white women are going to vote for her. Obviously, this is the first female president. The blacks did it with Obama. I mean, we promised the blacks nothing. Obama didn't even pretend to tell black people they were going to get him anything. But the Democrats understood that black people were just going to vote for that dude no matter what he said. And they assumed that women would do the same thing with Hillary Rodham Clinton.
They did.
But the issue is that white women in this country are a lot more politically sophisticated than the black voting bloc. Sorry. Them white ladies looked at Hillary Clinton's record.
Nope.
Nope.
That's a no for me. There's no glass ceiling going to be broken that year.
Shatter.
Yeah, shatter.
There was no Russia collusion. Now, my friend Amy, who was one of the few people that stood beside your brother during this entire thing, during this entire RUSSIAGATE situation.
At least there was some that were still faithful.
Go look in the comments section, dear listener. They were persecuting your brother for years. They were calling me a Russian hack, all types of shit. What's his face? That weird guy. Bo the Fifth Column. He went up there and put out the whole... Don't you guys remember when supposedly that Trump had made a deal with the tally? Was it Trump had... No, it was the Russians had made a deal with the tally to kill American soldiers in Afghanistan.
Yes.
And everybody just went along with it. It's unbelievable.
Yes, I remember that. Wow. That's
unbelievable. Okay, so according to the FBI, they said they should even have done the investigation. You know why? Because when you get to the federal level, you got to have certain standards of evidence and things like that were not presented or provided by the folks doing this witch hunt. Now listen, Donald J. Trump is a symbol. I've said this a million times. Donald J. Trump is a symbol. He is a symbol of the pinnacle of white privilege. He's a straight white male who is inconceivably rich. So because he's in that category, people have a hard time feeling outraged about this situation unless you're on the right. And the argument I'm trying to make to you, dear listener, if you're the left and you are sensitive to the privilege of cis white males, cis-het white males, then think about the logic. If they could do that to the most privileged person in the country, what hope do the rest of us have?
Yeah, 100%.
If you could do that to the most privileged, powerful person on the planet, and get away with it, and lie, and spend millions of dollars, and capture the national attention, and slow down presidential advancements, and the whole thing was an entire and complete lie, what can they do to you if they decide to put you in the crosshairs?
Yeah.
See, this is a problem. People
that's
don't
what I'm
think.
saying. You have to separate the fact that it's Trump out of the situation. You just have to look at it by who he is and what his standing is in this country. I mean, he's been the president and he was treated like this. The FBI was going after him. Shouldn't even been doing it. So that obviously, like, if all of us can pull back and just like take away, you know, from the idea, because a lot of times if it's Trump, people just want to be glad that somebody's going after Trump. But we have to recognize that what's good for the goose is good for the gander. If we're going to be okay for this for Trump, then don't be shocked when they start doing stuff like that with us when we don't have the same standpoints as they want.
Correct. I mean, you guys have to see another faithful truther was the big homie Applejack. Our first
another one.
Our first orange. Astaghfirullah. Look, right? The Applejack was another one. He was saying RUSSIAGATE is bullshit, but I think that's how we met actually. Well, we met on the GameStop thing, but that was a conversation. Well, RUSSIAGATE was bullshit. That's another one. There was like 4 people staying faithful in Middle America, dear listener. All right, here we go. We continue.
Even CNN admits the report is a devastating blow to the agency and exonerates Donald Trump. Here's
a devastating blow. Don't you guys remember the whole deep state thing? Now, here's the thing. Trump and all of his folks were talking about the deep state. And the deep state was just simply the intelligence apparatus, powerful people in Washington who didn't like him, who were conspiring in back rooms, smoky back rooms to bring him down. And the entire time we were told this was a conspiracy theory, this was a lie. It wasn't. It's not a lie. It's right there in black and white or blue and white, whatever you want to call it. It's not a conspiracy theory. It actually happened. So now you have got to adjust your understanding of the media that you're consuming. right? If this thing was completely and totally baseless and Rachel Maddow got on TV every day for 4 years and was pumping out this nonsense and she doesn't come out and retract what she's saying, you know for a fact that these people don't care about the truth. We continue.
Jake Tapper, let's watch.
Regardless, the report is now here. It has dropped, and it might not have produced everything of what some Republicans hoped for. It is, regardless, devastating to the FBI, and to a degree, it does exonerate Donald Trump. Here,
to a degree.
That is huge, because Jake Tapper is one of the big guys on CNN, and he was one of the big RUSSIAGATE guys. So for him to say, no, this basically exonerates Trump is huge. And I salute Jake Tapper for having some integrity and admitting that he and CNN and everyone was wrong and that Donald Trump has been vindicated. I know it must be very, very hard to do, but it's the high integrity move, and high integrity moves are always the best.
Yeah.
Always.
Yeah. Why is he saying that it basically it doesn't completely? Why didn't he think it completely exonerated him?
Because as Tasco said, that degree would be 100% because he can't bring himself to completely admit that.
Wow, really?
Right? He's still a human being. But what he said was enough. It was like, back in the day, dude was talking all reckless or whatever. He said, you can't, blah, blah, blah. It's like, okay, let's mix it up. And then after, he's like, you're okay. You went to the hospital, beloved. What you mean you're okay? But that's my point. Like he's only gonna give him some, and I respect.
We appreciate what he did.
I respect Jake Tapper for that. For real. We continue.
Are some major takeaways from the report. So Durham finds that, one, the FBI didn't have sufficient information to open the case investigating Trump's alleged ties to Russia. The Bureau relied on raw, unanalyzed, uncorroborated intelligence. Durham also criticizes the FBI's inability to corroborate any of the infamous Steele dossier, which contained a series of salacious allegations about Trump and his possible ties to Russia. The FBI operated with bias and different standards between Trump and 2016 Democratic presidential nominee Hillary Clinton.
Okay, they had bias and they applied different standards relative to Trump and Hillary. That's exactly what happened during the Mueller investigation when the Steele dossier. What happened, everybody forgets the details. What happened is there was this Russian person, supposedly, that had this dossier full of Oppo research against Clinton. They call up, and the person, that was completely invented by Hillary's people. They call up Trump's team, and the Trump person goes, nah, I'm not going to meet with you. I'm not going to meet with you. This all came out in the Mueller report. A Clinton person met with them instead. So Jim, what's-his-face says, how come that didn't make the report? And that was when Mr. Mueller said,
it was out of my purview.
Outside of my purview. So we caught this. Go back and watch the Vin and Story Mueller report review where that was specifically called out. To be honest with you guys, that's nothing special. It was plain as a nose on your face when you actually saw the back and forth between Mueller and whoever was interrogating him. That wasn't like some exclusive that we got. I wouldn't say that it was as big as a prediction as when I talked about Exxon and Chevron and the rap, and then 2 months later it materialized exactly in that order as I said.
Yeah.
Okay, but the Mueller thing, it was just obvious. Like if you saw it, that wasn't anything like insightful. If you saw it, it was clear.
Yeah.
Here we go. We continue. And there are people still in my comment section today. If you go back on those videos.
Really?
Look at the comment section for the Mueller report video. You want to talk about something not aging well, subhanallah. not. You got a bunch of people trying to delete. But I screenshotted it. I screenshotted all the crazy RUSSIAGATE comments, and I got them in a folder on my phone. Just like I have all my pro-life shit in a folder on my phone. Anybody ever wonder, how the hell does this guy have all this stuff so quickly? Man, come on, I'm cheating. We continue.
You're well prepared.
And finally, even though the report offers a scathing rebuke of the FBI's conduct regarding the Trump-Russia probe, it does not recommend any new charges against
who?
Surprise, surprise. It doesn't recommend any charges against all the people that lied, created this falsehood, put this country through all types of shit, completely destroyed Russian Americans, completely ruined Russian Americans.
Yeah, but
Go ahead.
At the same time, Trump incited that violence on, so
January 6th.
Yeah, it was January 6th. But Trump incited all of that, and nothing happened to him either.
Oh,
so,
I agree.
We're just letting all kinds of stuff just go.
That's 100% true. 100% true. And I the reason that I'm pointing out the fact that nobody's being held accountable for this is because what we have to realize is that everybody has such a short memory. All the crazy Russiagate people that were so passionate about Russiagate, you remember Keith Olbermann looked into the camera, Russian scum, right? Like, the fact that nobody's being held accountable for all of this disinformation is important to call out so that when it happens on the other side, like with Trump, we don't get to say, oh, Republicans are criminals. Like, they're all criminals. That's my point. My point is all of them are criminals. I got a friend on Middle America that keeps saying that the Republicans are criminals. I'm like, yeah, they're criminals, and so are the Democrats. Like, this duopoly system is killing us all. Unbelievable. We continue,
Yeah.
but very, very good to point out, he incited January 6th. Nothing's going to happen to him. These people created this entire yarn. Nothing's going to happen to them because these people at the end of the day are going to take care of each other.
Yeah.
Even though that they're fighting each other in front of us, and I think they genuinely dislike each other and have philosophical differences at the secondary and tertiary levels. At the end of the day, they take care of each other. That's clear. Because that's how they always end up in power. We've had nothing but Obamas, Clintons, and Clintons for the last, 12, 14, 15, 16 years. And the same players are still in the thought process of America. We continue.
Yeah, it's crazy, too, because you'll find out, remember Hillary was meeting with those big bankers? And,
Wall Street, yeah.
Yeah, there was all kinds of, weird conversation that had taken place and all that. But anyway, go ahead.
Yeah. Shout out to Kent. Trump did not incite violence. The FBI plants did. This is the thing that kills me about right-wing Trump supporters is that the right wing has this big thing on masculinity, accountability, super accountability. But then when it comes to holding Trump accountable, they will blame everybody. Mm-hmm. They'll blame Nancy Pelosi. They'll blame everybody. Mm-hmm. Always the feds. Trump didn't say anything that incited anything. All of the look. If you don't believe in you've got to believe in personal accountability and responsibility across the board. When you say incendiary things to a group of very emotional people and they go crazy, you don't get to just go, oh, I had nothing to do with it. That's beta male activity. And I thought Trump was an alpha male. Alpha males take responsibility for their shit. Mm-hmm. They don't blame other people, and they certainly don't blame women. We continue.
Individuals. So this is some big news. Obviously, people have been waiting for this report for a long time. There might be some frustration from Trump and Trump-aligned officials that it doesn't recommend any new charges against individuals, so the practical consequences of this report won't be significant. But it does undergird and support a lot of what conservatives have criticized with respect to the FBI. Basically, this is one big confirmation. This is an independent official report saying, yeah, everybody got over their skis with this Russia thing. That's what it found, essentially.
I mean, accusing people.
Everybody did not get over their skis with this Russia thing. There were lots of people, Tucker Carlson, there were a lot of people that were questioning the Russia thing. Not everybody went over their skis. That's Robbie trying to be conciliatory to these people, but they were not. Back about 2 to 4 years ago, if you had any doubt about any of this stuff, they immediately called you a Russian agent, a Russian bot, all over the place. We didn't all get over our skis. There were a lot of people that were like, whoa, 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 whoa. So I disagree there, Robbie, but that's okay. He's trying to be conciliatory. That's okay. Go ahead.
He does that a lot.
Yeah, he does. He does. He's a libertarian, so he's not Republican or a Democrat. But
having links to Russia has been an age-old tactic to ruin your political enemies. And back in 2016, it wasn't just happening to Donald Trump. They also immediately ran Chiron saying that Bernie Sanders was in cahoots with Putin after he won Nevada. So I think.
Remember, I told you guys that the Las Vegas one.
It's literally.
But she's wrong. They did it the day before the vote. They put that story out the day before the vote about Bernie being a Russian whatever. I shot a video on it. It was incredible.
When are we going to learn that that's what they're doing? That they wait until the last second, then throw something out there to throw the entire thing off? Like, when are we going to just
because
say,
it was the news, right? So the news is supposed to be the fifth. They're supposed to be like outside of that shit, and they're just supposed to be like ratting on the powerful to
but
us.
We've
that's
known
the idea.
that that's not how. I mean, remember that clip where all the news places were saying all the same thing? Like, it was just like repeated clips of all the same stuff.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, they're also getting paid off in
100%. Yeah, and they're all. They're. I mean, look. Was it the Washington Post is owned by Jeff Bezos, so it's not like they're gonna run like some crazy Amazon story about him. You see what I'm saying? So yeah, no, I'm with you.
A lot of people rightly were suspicious about this throughout. The left, despite obviously not having a substantive policy alignment with Donald Trump, has been very critical of this kind of Russia obsession this whole time as well. Now, what's interesting about this is the timing of this acknowledgement in a lot of ways. Remember, we're coming off of the heels of this CNN Trump town hall, which has been criticized roundly by liberals because basically they couldn't contain Trump. He was able to say a lot of things that are some mix of misinformation and inconvenient truths for the Democratic Party. But one of the things they really tried to pin him on was the idea that he was kind of uniquely anti-democratic by framing the results of the 2020 elections in a certain way, claiming that they were stolen from him. Now, obviously,
yeah. So Trump says that the 2020 candidacy was stolen from him because of the whole Biden thing.
Yeah,
and the
he had the mules and putting all
the 10,000 mules.
Yeah,
all the
yeah.
rest of it.
Why do you roll your eyes when you say that?
Because literally every single court, because you get to the circuit court and then it gets to the Supreme Court and all that, like in our situation, they all were against him. Like literally, even in states where he appointed. Remember, I said like he appointed the most he appointed the most judges. All those judges that he appointed.
Oh, right, that's right.
And then when they got to the Supreme Court level, the Supreme Court was like, "You have nothing here."
Yeah.
Then he talked about how disloyal everybody was. I put them in power; they're disloyal. Like clearly, like you have no case. And I mean, in my opinion, I think Al Gore had more of a case than Trump did. But Al Gore did not go the lengths that Trump went to. Now, keep in mind, Al Gore was not the president going for re-election. He was the incumbent because he was a vice president to Clinton.
Okay.
But I mean, that was clear. We were all. I was in New York at the time. We were all saying it was stolen. It was rigged. Everybody was joking about it. Bill Maher was talking about it. Nobody said, if you disagree that George Bush is the president, you hate democracy. Nobody said that. It was just like, look, he's the president now. We have to go with it, but we all know it was bullshit. But now when Trump and his supporters say, "Nah, I don't accept this," like now they're a threat to democracy. When 4 years prior you launched an entire scandal that was a lie in order to overturn the results of the election. The original impeachment discussions were about this, is because he's colluding with Russia. We know there's proof. Get him out of here. That's what they were doing. So these guys took it to like an extra step. It's one thing to say, I don't believe the results of the election are real, and then go to the, to the normal processes to get it done. But these guys went to multiple times to get this guy essentially booted out. They tried a legal coup to get this guy booted out of office. I mean, that's what happened.
And they knew it was a lie.
And in the process of it, you completely tore the country to shreds. By the end of it, you had people killing each other in the streets in 2020.
But that's why God says he does not like it when people try to divide other people.
Yeah. He hates those who sow discord among brothers. Mm-hmm. We continue.
His direct claims of election fraud are unsubstantiated and not the same as this. But he also made a cluster of other claims about how the election was rigged, including stuff like this and stuff like the suppression of the Hunter Biden story. And as this kind of news percolates, I think it does start to, cause a voter to see things in less black and white terms and see Trump as someone who has been victimized by the deep state in ways that are as egregious in some people's minds as what Democrats are saying Trump is doing about election denialism.
100%.
It's not even comparable. I don't think it's comparable. Joe Biden hasn't had to be in court and face all these crazy impeachment charges and all the rest of it since the moment he was sworn into office. They were talking about impeaching this dude over Russiagate before he was sworn in. So like there is no like comparison to that in my view. Like the reactions are completely different. Like you can hear. We continue.
And a moderator who other than Caitlin Collins, who better understands. And I'm not trying to knock her. I think she did well in some ways, given the format and given what CNN expected. But.
And as Delaney is saying, rightly pointing out, what if the same powers that tried to say Trump won because of Russia also took 2020 from Trump? Not saying that's what happened, but it looks a lot like people don't want Trump to be president. And then now you've got the Mar-a-Lago thing and all the rest of it. There is a clear, and that's why people who believe. I will tell you guys my specific understanding of what happened in 2020. Joe Biden is the president, and there's an asterisk by his name in my mind. There's an asterisk. It's like Barry Bonds has the home run record, but there's an asterisk because he was juicing. He was taking the steroids. Okay, so. If you ask me who won the presidential nomination in 2020, I'm going to say Joseph Biden. But I'm going to say if something came out 30 years from now for some CIA FOIA leak that some crazy shenanigans were happening, I wouldn't be shocked.
I wouldn't either.
And here's the thing. Neither would you, dear listener.
Neither.
You wouldn't be shocked if you heard.
There's no reason to be.
If you heard later on that some crazy shit happened in 2020 that worked in Mr. Biden's favor. I don't know if you guys remember what happened in Iowa in the Democrat. See, this is the thing that gets me. Anybody that wants to make the 2020 conspiracy thing sound like batshit crazy. Like, you guys don't remember what happened in Iowa when like the ballots mysteriously went down, and then it turned out that the group that was being used for the ballots was headed up by a guy named Robbie Mook, who was Hillary Clinton's primary operative in 2016. You guys don't remember that? Literally, that's what happened. And so like there is enough there for me to put an asterisk by Mr. Biden.
100%.
But here's the pattern. As soon as before he even gets sworn in, they were talking about impeaching him with Russiagate. Then we had four years of Russiagate. Then we had a very controversial 2020 election. And then nothing happened. And then right as he pokes his head up again, we've got Mar-a-Lago. He's back in court again. And we're going to try to get him so that he cannot run in 2024. It seems to me that the Democrats are giving Trump the LeBron James treatment. That's what it looks like to me. You guys saw what happened. LeBron and them boys went down 3-1 to Golden State, and then him and Kyrie just went there and decimated Golden State. And Steph Curry, Stephanie, and the rest of them boys looked at each other and said, there's no way we can beat these dudes by ourselves. So they called up Kevin Durant. Please come over to Golden State. We need you to help. Because we can't beat this dude. That's what it looks like to me. It looks like the Democrats are like, yo, we can't beat this dude. So we're going to do Russiagate. We're going to do some weird shit in 2020. And now we're Mar-a-Lago, whatever. Because we can't beat him straight up. That's what it looks like to me.
Yeah.
That's what it looks like to me.
A moderator who better understood where conservative energy is now and what issues animate them could have done exactly what you're saying there, could have drawn a difference or tried to get Trump at least to recognize a difference between the ballot box stuffing, true the vote stuff he was bringing up, which doesn't have any legitimacy or evidence supported on its behalf. Right. A difference between that and the FBI investigations and the smearing and the pressure on social media, all of that stuff, which actually has a fairly robust foundation. And now we are seeing confirmation from this report that there was not evidence when they initiated this entire Russian smear campaign. Something that they tried to taint, as you said, not just Trump, but Bernie and others. It's interesting, I think, to transport ourselves back to like the 2016, 2017 time period where just a whiff of Russian attachment was this.
That's it.
The mainstream media would descend upon you. It would just be wall-to-wall coverage. There'd be headlines everywhere. CNN, MSNBC, New York Times, Politico, Washington Post, Atlantic about the stench of Russian involvement and collusion.
Russian
It was just
scum.
overwhelming. I can remember talking to
Don't you guys remember? Our country has been officially taken over by hostile actors, by scum, Russian scum, he said. Don't you guys don't remember that when he said Russian scum right into the camera?
Jesus.
Scum, Russian scum, he said. We continue.
A mainstream journalist friend of mine at the time, this is 2018-ish, saying, "Wow, we're seeing all the rumors about Trump's connections to Russia have basically all been confirmed." And I remember thinking, really? That's the direction you're going with this?
You guys don't remember? This is devastating. The walls are. I cannot tell you how many times on TYT the walls are closing in on Trump. I said, oh, word? The walls are closing? Let me find out the walls are closing in on Trump. There were no walls closing in on Trump. They did that every day. Every day it was another thing, especially during the impeachment. Day zero, they said. It's 0 hour for Trump. Get out of here,
It's
y'all.
0 hour
It's zero. It's 0 hour. Like, share, comment, subscribe, people. We continue.
You don't think this is like just the biggest smear of all time? So it's a little, it's edifying now to have so much of it disproven or made to seem less legitimate. And I'm thankful to people like Jake Tapper who, say what you will about him.
Yeah.
I think is much more willing than other people in mainstream media to concede when his side has had a losing argument.
Yeah, absolutely.
Who is he?
Jake, the CNN guy that says, you got, that's what I'm saying, like, you got to give it to him because it's so rare. Like, this is how low the standards are. This is just supposed to be normal journalistic etiquette. That's like Laura Ingraham. She reported something, she was wrong, she had to retract it.
Right.
Like, if you do enough reading on these things, if you look at these articles, scholarly articles will make an amendment if they miss, like, a letter. So, like, if they misspelled a word, you'll see at the bottom, they're like, hey, we misspelled this word in paragraph 3, blah, 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 we corrected it, yada, yada. Like, that's a standard that journalists are held to, right? So, for Jake, that's real journalism. For Jake Tapper to go out and say that, that's like the bottom floor minimum of what's supposed to happen.
Yeah.
Right? But
It happens so little that we're celebrating it.
Correct, Sadak, because they've been so subsumed by these political apparati, whether it's the right wing or the left wing, that it's like you're just a voice box for this political group now. Like, you're not here reporting the news. You're just here to influence. I mean, they're just basically, they were influencers before influencers. Like, I come on here, like, I have a specific agenda, and I want you to believe my agenda. Because I believe my agenda is best for the world. Now, I run into people and they go, have you thought about this? And then I augment my agenda to their agenda because they're persuasive. That's how the shit is supposed to work. But the media is not supposed to be part of that.
Right.
The media is supposed to say, hey, you're being influenced by this person. Keep in mind, this is what they voted for, whatever. That's how it's supposed to work. Now, you got people like Delaney and the rest of these people where the only news they know is this partisan news, left-wing news and right-wing news. I don't even know if they know, like, that's not the way it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So,
yeah, but that's
it's
why
very important.
That's why influencers in the realm of politics is becoming popular. They can't, they're not being bought off.
Oh, yeah. TikTok. Cenk used to do this. He'd be like, TikTok, man, TikTok.
Oh, my gosh.
Trump. The time was running short. These people were like them rapture prophets, man. Like, every year the rapture was happening. Every year the world was going to end. We're all going to get sucked up into oblivion. Jesus is going to come back and take us all into the ether. It was every year. That was the same thing. TikTok, I see the signs of the times. Trump is finished. No, it's not supposed to be like this, Delaney. Actually, what's supposed to happen is that people are supposed to come out, make claims, be politicians, whatever, and then the news, I don't know if you have any siblings, but when I was young, my little brother was a snitch, and he was the baby. So, he didn't get toughened up. So me and him would get into conflicts, right? Mom would be at work, at the hospital. She was a registered nurse. And the worst thing in the world you could hear, Delaney, in my life was, I'm going to tell mommy on you, Vincent.
That's it.
Okay? Like, that is the role of the media. The media is supposed to look at politicians and say, I'm going to tell America on you. That's their role. That's what they're supposed to snitch on the powerful so that we could get the intel so that we could decide who to vote for or who to fire. Mm-hmm. That's what the media is supposed to be. We continue.
Right.
Black hole sun, won't you come and wash away the rain? That's free. We continue.
Absolutely, absolutely. Now, journalist Aaron Mate tweeted, Durham Report underscores that Trump-Russia collusion was a Clinton campaign scam abetted by FBI.
Aaron Mate. I don't know if you guys remember this, but the genesis of the entire Jimmy Dore versus TYT beef, a lot of it had to do with this brother, Aaron Mate.
Yeah.
Anna and Cenk were already sore on Aaron because Aaron was one of the first journalists to call mainstream, well-known journalists. He actually won an award for this, to call bullshit on Russiagate. So because he was calling bullshit on Russiagate, TYT didn't like him. Then he called bullshit on something else. Anna went crazy. Jimmy defended Mate, and then Anna did the thing, and the rest is history. But a lot of this came about because Aaron Mate refused to go along with the party line relative to the Russiagate nonsense. We continue.
Deception in media stenography, yet he doesn't touch Russiagate's core allegation, which the Clinton camp also generated and FBI media parroted, alleged Russian hacking of DNC.
Remember, the Clinton files, John Podesta and all that jazz calling so-and-so a brat and all that stuff.
A brat?
Yeah. Somebody hacked into the to Hillary and John Podesta's emails, like got into their ground zeros. That's how we found out about her secret meeting with the Wall Street, where she was talking about right. saying one thing in public and saying another thing in private and all the rest of it to these people. And for the longest time, they were saying that it was a Russian person who got that. Julian Assange, who's currently being tortured by our president, Julian Assange came out and said, no, it was a Democratic operative who gave me that information that I leaked. It had nothing to do with Russia. Do you know what Cenk did? You know what Cenk did when Julian Assange said that? Cenk turned on Julian Assange and said, we can't trust him anymore because he was just spouting out pro-Trump propaganda. Literally, that's what happened. He started casting aspersions on Julian Assange because Assange said, no, my leaker was not Russian. They're American from the DNC itself, which, if you know anything about intel, those would be the first people that you would look at. You would not look at a foreign actor. You can back me up on this. You wouldn't look at a foreign actor initially. You're going to look at it's called the closest proximity to the issue.
Yeah.
That's usually Occam's razor and all that. We continue.
And Matt Taibbi writes, ex-CIA head John Brennan, Mueller report, they found no conspiracy. Brennan on MSNBC, I suspected there was more than there actually was. Years of Trump-Russia hysteria based on suspicion only. It was Mickey Mouse intelligence. A dream is a wish your heart makes.
Now that's Matt Taibbi. Matt Taibbi, who a year ago was looked upon as a left-wing journalist, but since he started leaking, commenting on the Twitter files with the Elon Musk, and the left has essentially crucified this guy.
Okay.
Because, we can't support Elon Musk and stuff because the people that created this story have also told us that we're not allowed to like Elon either.
Oh, okay.
You guys notice how your emotions just get manipulated by these people? Back in the day, Trump was funny, like you're fired, everybody loved Trump. Now Trump is the most dangerous human being on the planet. Back in the day, everybody loved Elon Musk. He was going to save the world, take us to space, and fucking solve the pollution problem. The New York Times wrote a piece on him like a year and a half ago saying he was a hero. Now you're supposed to hate him. Now I saw this, who's that little pudgy dude? That pudgy Vosh, whatever his name is. That guy said that Elon Musk was stupid. I said, what? Who are you to say this about Elon? It's insane. It's incredible.
I don't know where people are getting the audacity.
Absolutely incredible. Like, what have you accomplished in your who qualifies these people to make these pronouncements about people's intelligence? It's unbelievable to me. It's the same thing. AOC is an idiot. Really, she's an idiot. Then how did she get to where she is then? Oh, listen, there's a lot of people better looking than AOC, more articulate than AOC, more likable than AOC, a better voice than AOC, I mean, when I hear her talk, I'm like, thank God I'm married to you. Good night. The voice thing is a very important thing to me. She got there because she's intelligent. She knows how to play the Game of Thrones. Feel how you want to feel about it. But anybody that's up there is up there because they're incredibly ambitious, ruthless, and more intelligent than the average person. That's just a fact. It's just a fact. Vosh is the worst person on YouTube. He's an undercover agent for NATO. Yeah, that's the guy that was like talking about kids and age of consent. That guy's just. I don't want to see that dude in public, man, for real.
He was talking about kids and the age of consent.
Yeah, man, like that's that guy, man.
Yeah. Furthermore, House Judiciary Chairman Jim Jordan said they reached out to Special Counsel Durham to testify on Capitol Hill next week.
Uh-oh! Okay, Jim Jordan was the guy. I don't know if you remember this, but when Mueller was like, outside of my purview for the 9 millionth time, Jim Jordan said, interesting. He's like, there's a lot of gaps in this report, and I'd like to know why. We're going to launch an investigation. So that whole thing happened to fulfill what he said. And now he's saying the dude that published this report, we're calling on him to speak next week. So there you go.
Really?
Yeah. Death Proof says, explain Biden.
When next week is he going to speak?
I think Biden is more intelligent than your average person for sure, because intelligence is not just cognitive capability. There's something called emotional intelligence, for example, and Biden is excellent at emotional intelligence. When he's on, emotionally speaking, he's the most relatable politician I've ever seen. He's a lot more relatable than Obama. I don't know if you guys realize this or not, but black people did not identify with Obama. People don't know this, but Obama is like in the Russell Wilson category. Russell Wilson's a quarterback for the
I know who he is. Yeah.
Like, you listen to the other football players, nobody's hanging out with that guy. Nobody likes him. Nobody was gonna hang out with him. Obama's like one of them black dudes, like that black people don't like. We voted for him because he's black, but we didn't like him. Nobody's like, I mean,
he didn't go in there and do anything for the black cause. Like,
he
didn't try to ease any of the.
But
suffering.
you didn't hear white people say, I can relate. Obama's a relatable guy.
No.
Obama's strength was that he was so intelligent, so articulate.
I heard that so many times.
That it made you think what he's saying is impossible, but I mean, we'll give the guy a shot, right? Mm-hmm. Like, and he understood that about himself. But Joe Biden, come on, man. Like, he's a guy, when he's on, emotionally speaking, he is perceived as an everyman. He has high. Same when he went on the show with McCain's daughter, and McCain was dying of cancer. Now, McCain is a Republican.
Yeah.
But I mean, there's really no difference between McCain and Biden. I mean, come on.
But it wasn't McCain? Was McCain the one that Trump said something about?
Yeah, I don't like people who get captured.
Yeah, he said something rude like that. Yeah. Why are you laughing?
Because it's just so bad. I mean, the guy, he literally, like, I don't like any politician, but literally, he had the opportunity to go home or continue to be tortured. If I had a child, I got a son. If I would beat the hell out of my son if he decided to stay with his boys instead of come home and let himself get tortured by them fucking Viet Cong. Like, how could you disrespect somebody like that? But anyway, that's a different story. That's a different story. I'm just saying, like when he went on the View, because he was dying and his daughter's on the View, and so she was emotional, and he basically broke character and just spoke to her directly and said, if anybody can beat it, it's your dad. There's experimental shit. We're not going to give up until,
Who said that?
Biden said that to McCain's daughter.
Biden said that.
That's what I'm saying. Like, it was beautiful. He's like, we fought it, and I know your dad, and I've been with him, and he's a fighter, and blah, 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 and we're not going to give up until he's, And it was just a beautiful moment, man. Like, he has emotional intelligence. He has emotional intelligence. Shout out to Malcolm Palm. I didn't vote for Barack Hussein Obama at any time. I've never voted for Barack Obama. I'm never going to vote for somebody who... Anyway, I'm not even going to get into that topic. But shout out to Malcolm Palm. On racist Malcolm Palm. I didn't vote for Barack Obama. We continue.
I was looking for, because I came across, I believe it was John Brennan making this claim. He was one of the foremost Russiagate truther type people, saying that, I believe it was him, I'm going to find this quote. He said that he thinks Russia had more to do with Donald Trump being elected than, or more to do with Hillary Clinton being defeated than Donald Trump did, which makes no sense. It just doesn't make any sense. Like,
yeah, but it was headline news for 4 years, dear listener, dear American, for 4 years. We were captured with this baseless headline. This tore our country completely to shreds and set the table for the invasion of Ukraine. Yes, it did.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes, it did.
Absolutely.
And it also set the table for the $150 billion we sent to those individuals, while American people back home are in some serious situations. Like I've said, I can think of a lot more other things to do with that $150 billion. For example, dear listener, since the Dobbs decision, there have been, 14 to 16 states that initiated trigger laws. I think Montana was yesterday. It was like no abortions after 9 weeks or something, bless God. But now you've got a bunch of women and a bunch of states that do not have, in my view, the economic capacity to handle what's about to happen. It would have been great to take that $150 billion and say, hey, we're going to do a special child tax credits for new moms in these states.
Yeah. So
if you're a new mom in this state, you're going to get a child tax credit of whatever, everything until we spend $150 billion. We're going to give this to all the new moms in this area and, 5 years back or whatever. There's so many things we could have done for women in this country who are terrified and who are making horrible decisions based on economics in the first place. But instead, we sent that $150 billion to people to kill one another, and they just lost back, whatever. It was basically this battle of attrition where both of them got sent to the grinder, and the Russians basically won because the Russians just have more people to send into the grinder than the Ukrainians did. This is a brutal, barbaric use of our capital. And it could have been done. It could have been given for other things. It could have been given to help other things, in my opinion.
I agree, 100%.
I agree, Amy, that Biden was milking tragedies that happened to him for political power. He did that very masterfully with his son, Beau. However,
no,
I still think, look, if you're a politician, everything is on the table, right? So I understand that. But I still think that there was a genuine moment on The View. It resonated with a lot of people. All I'm saying is that intelligence is not just the ability to formulate an articulate sentence. There's a bunch of other categories of intelligence that people have to account for. Yeah. Emotional intelligence being one of them. Right?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I got to just back that up. We can't know for sure that he was using his son's death as a political whatever.
Well, he wouldn't mention it. There's no reason to mention it otherwise. His son contracted cancer because he was in these burn pits in Iraq. So it's a long story, but basically it was an unsanitary way of getting rid of certain things that we wanted to get rid of, weapons and other things like that. But it's obviously carcinogenic and all that. He contracted cancer and he died.
Okay.
And so Biden brought that up on numerous occasions.
For what purpose? He could just be a hurting dad.
When he was making his political speeches. So he brought his son up in the context of that. Here's the thing. I don't think that's a bad thing. If you want to get power because you believe that you're going to use the power to benefit the most people possible, that's in play. I don't have a problem with that. I don't have an issue with that. My issue is, when you get the power, what are you going to do with it? That's what I focus on. A politician is one of those people who's always on. There's no off button for a politician. You see what I'm saying? Because anything that you see of them is going to get used for or against them in a campaign. So I don't have a problem with a politician milking something for its whatever, because they're a different category of person than we are.
Yeah, I agree with you. It depends on what they're going to do with it. It's the same thing like for us. We'll talk about our kids in the context of abortion, but we're doing it in the sense of hey, let's keep the kids safe. So I can see that. If the end goal is you want to help people, and I'm sure that if the end goal, which,
I mean, Obama used the suffering of black people to get himself elected. That was the entire undercurrent of his entire yes, we can. Who's we?
Yeah,
he's saying us.
It would be like
you know what I'm saying?
For me to like use the suffering of women to get elected, I don't think that's crazy. I think that actually makes sense. But like if like, I don't know, it was just the way that it was kind of like thrown out there, like using his son for political gain. That was like just
he absolutely did, and I have no problem with that if he was going to use that power for good, but he hasn't. That's where I say it's an illegitimate use of a tragedy.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
I agree.
We continue.
Even at its most far-flung, even if you ended up accepting all these premises, which are false, about involvement, like, people were not brain controlled.
Yeah.
People did not, I'm going to vote for Glenn, like, I got the, like, they have an antenna, and they get the Russian signal, and then they switch their vote. Like, that's as crazy and conspiratorial as anything that Trump is saying about the 2020 election, to be frank.
Well, and this is something where even I thought to myself, you know what? I was influenced by the media this way, and I wasn't listening close enough. And what Robbie's talking about here is specifically the average Trump supporter. So the stereotype of the average Trump supporter is they just blindly follow Trump. They go wherever he tells them to go. They do whatever he says. And, the whole I could kill somebody on Fifth Avenue, they wouldn't care, yada, yada, yada. And I'm sorry. I believe that about Trump supporters. But the fact of the matter is that's not true. Mm-hmm. And the clearest example of that is how they reacted to the
shot,
to the jab, to the COVID thing.
Yeah.
The Operation Warp Speed, blah blah blah. Trump was like staking a claim on that, spiking the football on that. His own people booed him. You got to give him credit for Trump. So like Robbie's right. Like this whole, I mean, think about how stupid these people are saying the American voter is. Okay. So you were going to vote for Hillary Clinton, this historical nomination, and then you saw a meme, because literally the Russian interference at the civic level was all these memes and social media influencing on you. So you were here's Hillary, all these things. You got Supreme Court nominations, abortion, healthcare, foreign policy. We still had ISIS. I know everybody's forgotten about ISIS and Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi. He was like the big, spent a lot, he was a very important figure, a couple years back. I mean, it's so amazing to me how we just forget everything. But all these massive issues are in play. And here's this person, they were going to vote for Hillary Clinton because of all these issues.
But here comes the meme.
SubhanAllah, they go to Facebook and here's a meme by Vladimir or Sasha, whatever. And all of a sudden now the guy's like, man, fuck all these issues. I just saw this meme on Facebook. I am now going to vote for Donald Trump. Are you kidding me? And some of you went with that shit. I had to patiently work with you people.
Oh my God.
Do you know how many times I had to look at that camera and pretend? Man, let me just keep going.
The day that it was announced that Hillary lost the election, even before that, frankly, there was a campaign to prevent anyone from interrogating the role she played in her own loss. At no point was there any serious national consideration.
That's right. I don't know if you guys remember this, but after the stunning defeat, Miss Clinton came out with a book. You remember the title of the book? What Happened?
Yes, that's right. What happened?
I have a half-famous Catholic friend. Me and him. He invited me to his podcast, and I said, "Yeah, bro." He said, "Yeah, what happened?" And then it was funny because we had the title. It said, "What happened?" He goes, "The answer to the question is on the book itself." Because it said, "What happened?" And then under it says Hillary Clinton. So Mark's like, "The answer is in the title of the book. She happened." Nope. There was no interrogation, Delaney or Dwayne, about why she crashed so miserably. And I don't know if you guys remember this, but before Vladimir Putin, it was James Comey. James Comey was the reason that she lost. Hillary had all these crazy excuses. And you guys don't remember. That's okay. That's why your boy's here. We continue.
about what it meant for the DNC to rig the race in favor of a historically unpopular candidate.
Yes.
The choices that she made not to campaign in key states that she ultimately lost. The fact that she kept stepping in it and not making any kind of concessions to the...
She wouldn't even go to TYT to do an interview. TYT, Cenk was begging her like, okay, now that you're obviously the candidate, please come on and help me.
Why wouldn't she?
Brainwashed because she thought she was too above the progressives.
Oh, really? Above the progressives?
Yeah, because they're all young and they're all misty-eyed with Bernie and all the rest of it. So she's like, she has no respect for progressives. She doesn't care about the progressive voting bloc because she just thinks that progressives are just young Democrats who haven't been cynicized enough yet. They haven't become cynical enough yet to realize that they just need to vote Democrat.
Wow.
You know, Cenk was like a Republican, then he was a progressive, and then he's like, oh, let's just be real here. We're just Democrats again. And it's just like common sense politics. That's how liberals maintain their power.
Now they're leaning more Democratic?
Well, I mean, as soon as Bernie bent the knee, Cenk was like, no, we have to vote for Biden.
I see.
We have to.
Yeah,
Crystal was like, I don't know what I'm going to do. Crystal, because he was on that show. And he interrupted her. He said, no. He's like, we cannot even countenance doing anything other than voting for Biden. We have to vote for Biden.
Wow.
So, it is what it is, man. You can't deny it.
Youth vote who were clamoring, excited about this largely before then unknown little senator from Vermont who managed to capture the world by a storm.
Rig is my boy, man. Rig's been like, and he's on the complete other side of me with a lot of this shit.
Okay.
What is the alternative to voting that will actually affect change? Well, I don't know, Rig. Maybe in 2020, if progressives would have said, no, we're not voting for Biden. We're not going to do it. Maybe if Bernie would have said, no, I'm not going to bend the knee to Biden, and no, you should not give him your vote. If we would have done that in 2020, we would be geared up for 2024. You know why? Because Trump would have won again. Then you guys could have said, oh my God, he's a fascist, blah, 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 blah. He's a Nazi, yada, yada, yada. And then the Democrats would have to do some serious soul searching because they'd have to say the progressives aren't playing ball and they have enough influence. So if y'all would have went with Jimmy Dore in 2016 and 2020, you guys would be in the catbird seat right now. You guys would have all the power, and all these people would be fawning at your feet to get your endorsement. But you guys just completely collapsed. You folded and you went with the party line. And as long as you do that, they're going to keep playing you. And here's the thing, dear listener, dear Rig, elections are every 4 years. So you don't get a lot of time before you get old and cynical. You're going to turn around and be 40 or 45 or 50 or whatever, and you're going to be just like them boomers. Right? So we keep playing this stupid game and then complaining. Nah, you can't complain, bro. You can't complain. And if you're an establishment Democrat, you love the way shit is now. It's the same thing I tell black progressives. I'm like, y'all silly and y'all just as coonish as the Democrat, the black Democrats that all you guys despise. Where is the black agenda in progressivism? And there shouldn't be one either. If I was a progressive architect, I would do nothing for black people. Damn. Why would you? They're going to vote with you anyway. They're not going to vote for no Republican. They're fascist racists who don't love you. So you went ahead and voted for Joe Biden. We continue.
Precisely because there was this vacuum in Hillary Clinton's own campaign messaging. No interrogation of that was allowed. Instead, all of the explanation for what had happened to Hillary Clinton was funneled into this Russia bucket. And
I'll tell you what, if I was a female, I would have been so insulted by the way the loss of Hillary Clinton was narrated. Because the loss.
Oh.
The narration of why she lost is like internalized misogyny. White women didn't vote for her. Misogyny. White men didn't vote for her. James Comey. It was all these excuses for why she couldn't win instead of just her. Yeah. And to me, it was like they were treating her like a girl. And then she lost that night, and instead of like sacking up like a grown ass woman, she sat there in her bed and cried. And then the next day she went out and did her concession speech. It was just like a terrible showing for women, in my opinion.
I agree. I was like, I did think, and there is still like a part of me that gives her like a little, 2% that maybe, because remember we saw her getting off of like a plane or something, and I saw her falling multiple times, and people trying to, prop her into vehicles and stuff. So my thought was, like if she's under a lot of stress and her body is kind of like maybe she was still like mentally, because to me Hillary seemed more mentally capable of doing that job as a president than Biden does.
Hillary Clinton had clearly the sharpest mind out of anybody in that field for the last 10 years.
Yeah.
Not even close. So, even she had a sharper mind than Bernie.
But definitely
she
something
knew
was
to the
going
letter
on.
what she was going to do. No, it's exhausting.
So I wasn't sure if
exhausting.
Maybe she was like under a lot of stress and her body wasn't handling the stress well. And so when she found out she lost, maybe like it was such a devastation, because see, I can't, like, Hillary's one of these characters that when I look at her, like in one picture, like I don't like her at all. I don't like how she lied to us over and over, how she lies so well to the American people. I know. Like it doesn't even look like she's lying. But then, then there's a part of me that like can't separate her from what she's been through with her husband and everything throughout the years, like all that. So to me, I didn't know if it was like almost like the final blow in a sense of like,
I don't care what it is. I don't care.
No. I know.
She should have been out there.
My thing is, I didn't know if physically she couldn't go out.
She could. She could have won. If she won, you don't think she would have went out that night?
No, if she won, she wouldn't have been stressing like she was.
Okay, well, that tells me that she can't handle it because she's a girl. That's what it looks like to me. Because every other candidate was able to do that. How come she couldn't handle it?
Well, maybe she's not well.
All I'm saying is, if I was a woman, I'd have a problem.
Because I did.
So the first time that this happens, it just happens to be a girl. She can't take it. Get out of here.
I mean, it didn't look good. It wasn't a good look.
I don't think she couldn't do it. It was her ego and her pride, and the fact that she was certain she was going to win and she didn't win. I mean, she basically said that in her book. She was throwing shit around the room, all type of shit. It was just a horrible showing. Just a horrible
stuff
show.
Around the room?
Yeah, man, it was just a horrible
showing.
After
she lost?
Yeah.
Oh,
she was out there watching. She had the capability. She just couldn't do it emotionally.
Yeah. Well, if she's throwing stuff around the room,
she just couldn't do it.
She had nothing strength about her.
I don't care. Even if it was she physically couldn't do it, it would still be like, yo, here's this woman who's supposed to be the president, so you can take a loss, but we're supposed to give you the fucking keys to the kingdom?
Yeah,
it's just a bad showing for women. It was horrible.
Yeah, I agree with that. I agree. I mean, I thought that it was, like you said, here we have a woman that's finally in this situation where she could become president, and it's like, it got this close, and then in the midst of that, like, she didn't represent women well.
That's what I'm saying. Like, you gotta learn how to lose.
And especially, like, the younger girls watching that, like...
That's what I'm saying. Like, you gotta get out there. You gotta get out there and be like, you know what I'm saying? It didn't happen this time, blah, 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 blah. You gotta, you didn't like Hillary in 2016.
No. I'm not a Hillary fan for a lot of different reasons. One of them being the amount of lying that she did. It's just incredible.
I haven't even told you all the cover she did for Bill with all those people that Bill was Me Too'd about.
Okay, that was what
She was one of the main foot soldiers there.
I did see one of those, and where she was going behind the scenes and trying to silence women that he had done stuff with.
What do you mean trying? She did.
She did.
She did.
She effectively did.
According to the calling to Paula Jones. Allegedly.
Okay, so stuff like that, like I'm not with that at all. And to be honest with you, I don't know enough about Hillary to even be able to say I know positive stuff about her where I'm like, she left a positive impact on this world, and I'm very glad. Like, I don't know enough about her to be able to say, because I'm sure she's probably done something.
Look, Hillary definitely advanced the cause of feminism. There's no question.
For good or for evil?
I think for good. I think for good. I think she's a good. I think she's. Our grandkids are going to be reading about her in the history books. I mean, she's definitely an icon. And she could have won, but she just can't be honest with herself. And like I said, it was just a bad look, man. For me, I remember that night thinking to myself, like, she better get on that stage. I'm like, she better not let this night fucking go out and not go on stage. Because I know exactly, and that's exactly what happened. The next day, they crucified her for it.
This is what happened.
And it looks terrible. It looks like as a woman, you can't, you couldn't handle it.
Yeah. I think that's what happened. Like, for me as a woman, like, you did not represent us well. And you just said, like, her big major accomplishment is that she pushed the feminist movement forward. But then when it was time and all the world was looking at her, she didn't come through for us. Like, that to me was pretty, like, how are you going to push forward the movement and then in a moment that big do that poorly?
Yeah.
So obviously I have a problem with that.
I had a real problem with that. I don't even like Hillary.
I think the reason why I was saying maybe she wasn't physically able to come out is because my ego can't even understand her hiding in the back room like that.
That's what I'm saying.
So I assumed that it was because she physically couldn't get herself off the carpet.
That's what I'm saying.
Then you told me she was throwing stuff around, which means she had her strength about her. That's just, yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Like, that's a problem. I don't care. Like, if you got to get out there in a wheelchair, you need to make a fucking showing as a woman to say, yeah, I lost, whatever. Here I am, blah, blah, blah.
You're right.
You brought all those people together in your thing, and they spent like a bunch of money on that. They had a glass ceiling at the top, to symbolize everything.
I know.
And she just left all, and then she had a dude go out there and speak on her behalf. Not thinking about the metaphors of what that entails. I never forgot that. I was really...
That's what I'm saying.
I was like low-key, like because you know how metaphorical my mind works. I was so disappointed in her when I saw... And like the worst person on... Like literally, John Podesta to go out... This has nothing to do with what we're talking. I'm getting distracted here, but... It was just... I never really forgave Hillary for that, to be honest with you. Because I got daughters. You know what I'm saying? Like, we got daughters.
Yeah,
at the end of the day, like... I still want them to have some role models. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like... And I want to be, I'm still going to use Hillary. I'm going to point to her and say, look, feel how you want it. There's a lot of shit she did, but I still think she's a feminist icon. I still think she's a great wife. If you want to talk about, like, loyalty and all that to your husband.
Yeah.
Like.
Yeah.
There's a lot of positive things about Hillary Clinton, but, like, the negative things are just so negative that it's impossible to.
I'm pulling back on that. Because I don't know what she was doing, because she stood beside him in some crazy stuff that he was doing to other people. So I got to come out and say publicly that was wrong and that is not the way to be a wife. So I see what you're saying. Like it, you know that story about like the evil manager, and so Jesus was like, oh, like the manager was what he did was bad. But it's kind of like one of those things with Hillary where it's like, like what you did was really evil. And you put those girls through more. Again, you said she's a major mover for feminism, but she's silencing feminine voices for her husband's. So I don't know. I mean, to me, she's no feminist icon of mine. But whatever.
I understand. I understand.
But I can see what you're saying. Where like, I mean, she went all out to stand beside her husband on it. But again, I don't recommend that for anybody, and I don't think anybody should do that.
Agree.
It provided cover for her and the failures of her own administration, especially as
Here goes.
kind of
loyalty, the most powerful man in the world. Like, she had better options. Listen, she could have left him after his because he only had 2 years left in office after that.
Yeah.
So he was a lame duck president when all that shit came out. So I understand what you're saying, but I think
he's still not going to provide.
I think if she had a public divorce and stood on her feminist principles or whatever, it would have gotten her. It would have gotten her a lot of pity points.
I think people would have voted for her. I probably would have voted for her.
Yeah, it's a story of a lot of women.
You got to do something like that. Like, that would have given us a different story. But she kind of got stuck in this role of like being this. To me, what, and I'm not.
Well, at the end of the day, she was standing by her man. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah,
it is what it is. It be like that sometimes. Oh.
Clinton blob continued to control so much of the Democratic Party going forward. I felt like they were unwilling to be vulnerable to any kind of critique, and now, all of these years later, it seems like they have still not learned their lesson, and they're repeating many of the same things with respect to Joe Biden.
And I'll just add that the existing media infrastructure of cable news, television, entertainment, of which Trump was an integral part for years and years and years, made into a celebrity by Jeff Zucker, the very person who had come to run CNN during the resistance time period. That's what gave Trump his power, his persuasiveness, his introduction to the American people as a deal maker and a celebrity statesman type person. that was done by the infrastructure we already have, not uniquely done by social media, given Russian interference. That was something they came up with, the existing media infrastructure, to excuse their own complicity in the whole thing.
Agree.
Yeah. Putin's not quite as powerful as some people at CNN like to believe he is.
No, not indeed. Well, we're going to keep talking about this.
God almighty. They've got the GDP of Los Angeles for the millionth time. Look, we have to take him seriously because he has nuclear weapons, but they're not trying to have any smoke with us, y'all. Come on, man. Come on. All right, guys.
Applejack, thank you for the super chat. He said Hillary is a murderer and an evil swine. He also said Hillary doesn't get any woman points. That's for Eleanor.
Yeah, he's a gangster. He's not going to play it.
Yeah.
He's not going to play it.
Yeah, I know. I see the similarities between the two of you guys.
Hillary is also a huge LGBT supporter who told LGBT organizations and donors that it's not a good climate to push same-sex marriage yet. But she was right, Amy. She was right. Obama went out and said no, blah, 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 and then 2 years later he flipped, and then we got the Obergefell decision. So, I mean, look, it's politics, man. It's politics.
Yeah. Amy, were you saying that because you think that it's like the opposite to say you're a supporter, but then tell them don't push that agenda at that point? Or what were you seeing there?
No, we talked about it, Ben, how the two-party system creates this situation in the first place. I agree with you, but, you know, this is a situation. Much love to all you beautiful people. I think we're going to play Fortnite now. Let me check on LeBron, see what LeBron's doing.
He's probably throwing a three-pointer.
Yep, he's shooting a three-pointer, probably.
Oh, look.
Bastard. Oh, let me see. Let's see. LeBron, my boy's about to make history here. Yeah, 75-65. We're in good shape. Commanding lead.
All right.
Commanding lead. After she...
Oh, she said it was okay to get the votes, and then after she was like, well, no, let's not bring that agenda forward yet.
Oh, that's like
Okay,
Obama when
so
he told them women, like, oh yeah, the codifying role is going to be my first thing. And so he got like a 5 out of 5 from the National Women's Organization. And then when he got elected, they was like, yo, B, what's good? He's like, I've got other things on my agenda that were not that important. Okay. Much love, all you beautiful people. Much love, all you beautiful people. We got to get out of here. Art Perez, shout out to Big T Bariatric. Shout out to Art Perez. Art, I'm sorry, bro, but you caught us literally at the very, very, very end of this broadcast. Still didn't get the Fortnite invite. May you lose every game.
Well,
why do I have to send an invite?
Yeah.
We've already played together.
Yeah,
you should
can't
just
you
jump
see us
on the
in there?
thing.
Yeah. We're going to be playing tonight, so if you're not doing anything.
Listen, but we're serious players now.
Yeah, and...
We are serious players. We are ranked. This is a rank. This couple is ranked on Fortnite, dear listener.
We're now ranked.
We are a ranked group of people. We don't know. I don't know when the next stream is. We usually try to keep those channels separate. Do we have one coming up in 48 hours?
No, not well. There can be if we want. If we so pick that. But it depends.
Yeah, Art, I was looking for you, buddy, because I was figuring
you have a different account.
I was figuring you'd want to see this.
We'll get it figured out. Okay, goodbye.
Fortnite is a loser. Fortnite is for losers that suck at actual games.
Vin's really good at like basically every game, so I don't know what you're talking about. Your theory is off.
Yeah, he says I'm a loser. Ridiculous. And come into the arena, bitch.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Love your neighbor. Take care of each other. Middle